Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm starting a little reading vlog. So one time before I had tried to do a 24 and 48, but I didn't really time how long it was taking me or anything like that. And obviously when you do the math of reading 24 hours and 48 hours, that's 12 hours a day, and I am certain that I did not reach that level. And I decided this time I wanted to try to do a 24 and 72 because that feels way more doable for me to read 8 hours a day instead of 12 hours a day. So at the time of starting this vlog, I have actually already started reading and I've read about an hour. So I feel like there's potential for me to be able to read quite a bit more today. It's definitely a less busy weekend than normal. So it feels like the prime time for me to attempt this, and I'm doing live reading sprints on my channel tomorrow for Montgomermay, so it's just the perfect weekend for it. And it's a reading challenge weekend for my Patreon too, so perfect. Anyway, so here are some of the books that I'm concentrating on right now. This may change throughout the weekend, especially because I'm going to allow myself to mood read more so I can kind of enjoy what I'm reading more and not feel like I'm slogging through. But the first book I'm working on is Peace Like a River by Leaf Anger. I am really close to the end of this. This is what I've been reading this morning, and I know I have less than 50 pages. Yeah, I have about 40 pages left. So that is priority number one. And then I will also be hopefully making some progress in Middlemarch this weekend. I'm about this far, which looks like not very much, but it's almost 200 pages in. So I definitely want to make some progress in this. And I have also been reading House of Dreams by Liz Rosenberg. I'm really enjoying this nonfiction biography about Ellen Montgomery's life. I'm about this far in. How many pages is that? 101 pages in, and I'm loving this so much. My goal was to read like a chapter a day, so it didn't feel like it was too much or anything like that, but oftentimes I'm reading several chapters at a time because I'm just enjoying it that much, and I can see so much of where Ellen Montgomery got her stories from her life, and so that is a really cool aspect of reading this book. I'm also planning on starting Kilmeny of the Orchard tomorrow on reading sprints. It's a pretty short one, so I might finish it this weekend. I'm not really sure, but I wanted to wait to start that until we were on sprints. And then I just have other various books that I need to read this month that aren't buddy reads that I can just kind of start whenever, so I kind of have other things that I may dip in and out of, but these are my plans so far for today, and Peace Like a River is like #1 priority to finish that one up. I'm really enjoying it. It's about this family, and there's this single dad who's raising his 3 children, and he has so much faith. I just love the dad. He is a man of faith, and miracles just kind of happen around him, and so that's really cool. And like the characters are so vivid and so bright. And basically what happens very early on in the story is that the oldest son commits a crime and then kind of like goes on the lam, and so the family decides that they are going to try to find him. So they get this Airstream, and they're traveling throughout the country looking for him, and the perspective of the book is from Ruben, the middle child, and then the youngest child, Swede, is a 9-year-old girl, and she is so imaginative, and she's a writer, and she's writing about this Western, and it's like a poem but a story at the same time, and it's such a fun insertion throughout this book. So yeah, those are my reading plans for today, at least. That may change some. Also, I should note that I am going to be counting audiobook listening because I don't know if I can really sit for 8 hours and read. Maybe I can, I don't know, we'll see. A lot of it will be physical reading because that's a lot of what I have, and I'm also going to count readings for schoolwork with my daughter because I am reading and we're reading quite a few really good books right now. 2 of them are fiction, 1 is nonfiction, and I'll probably share those with you once we get to school time. But I will be counting that because usually I'm reading aloud for maybe about an hour every day, 45 minutes to an hour for schoolwork for her, so I'm going to count that as well. But I will keep you updated as to how my reading is going. So I am now past the 2-hour reading mark. I think it's around 2 hours and 20 minutes. I want to say 2 hours and 17 minutes. Something like that. So I'm doing really, really well, which is good. I have finished Peace Like a River by Leaf Anger. And the end of this. This is such a beautiful book. This is on my Reader Rid project. And so I had heard a lot of people say they loved it, but just hadn't had any motivation to read it, especially since I found out it was, more of a historical fiction. And I think that that is the primary genre, but it is so full of like just beautiful depictions of faith and all that kind of stuff. And I just like loved the way that it was written. It felt very true to the time that it was written, the location that it was written, because it's like taking place in the Midwest. I want to say Minnesota, I think. And I think it's in like the 50s or 60s. And so the narrator's voice just feels like very authentic for an 11-year-old boy of his time. And, it was just so good. And the end was so beautiful. I'm so glad that I read this book, and I definitely will not be getting rid of it. I was just tearing up at the end, like not bawling, but tears literally did go down my face. It wasn't just a little misty-eyed. It was just so beautiful. So glad that I read this. Claire and I also finished school today, or I finished the portion of school that I do with her. She still has a little bit of independent work to do. And I'm going to have some self-control this weekend because my older sister so sweetly and unexpectedly sent us the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. It came out today and we wanted to pre-order it and just couldn't. And I was going to have Claire Claire was so excited about it. She was going to ask for it for her birthday, which isn't until August. And it came in the mail today and we freaked out. We're so excited. So I'm going to try really hard to still focus on my reading. So that way there's, 8 hours of reading a day. I'm really going to try to meet that goal, and I'm going to justify not playing this game at all with Claire gets a chance to play it without anyone, trying to take it from her at all. It is a gift to both of us. It's not just for Claire. So I'm really looking forward to playing it though. So there may be some clips of gameplay because I'll probably watch her play a little bit, but mostly save most of it for when I'm able to play. But I'm so excited. We both love Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is probably our favorite Nintendo Switch game, which is what most people say, I think. And yeah, just so excited. We have watched every trailer. We have watched the gameplay that Nintendo has released. So we're both just over the moon about this. So I'm going to try to be good and focus on reading instead of playing this, which is what I'm really going to want to do now.
Seeing that she already began to feel herself guilty. However just her indignation might be, her ideal was not to claim justice, but to give tenderness. So when the carriage came to the door, she drove with Mr. Casaubon to the Vatican.
When I want to record, there's so much noise. It's peaceful and quiet out here, and then the instant I want to record, there's an airplane, there's been cars driving by, whatever. We're gonna go with it. So it is now past noon on Saturday, and I am not doing great with this whole 24 hours thing. Apparently it's a lot harder and requires a lot more effort to read for 24 hours than I thought it did. but that's okay. You know, we're going with it. I'm now around 9 hours at this point, and I have made substantial progress in Middlemarch. I'm about a third of the way through, 29 chapters in, almost 300 pages in. So I'm thrilled with the progress that I've made in Middlemarch, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm actually pretty invested in the characters and invested in the plot, and it took me a really long time to get there because it felt like we just kept introducing more characters. You know, we start out the book with Dorothea as she is like looking to get married, and she ends up marrying someone, and that's kind of like the beginning of the book, and I was really enjoying her personality. And then we totally shift to other people in this town. We switch to a doctor named Lydgate, and we switch to, what family is it? The Vinci family, I think, with Fred and his sister and all that kind of stuff, and Mary Garth, and like there's so many like different things that like different people were introduced to and other things going on, and it was just like feeling like a lot. And now it's kind of settling in, so I kind of like understand who's here, what's going on with the people, and I'm much more invested. So I listened to a lot of that yesterday, read some of it, and last night started on Kindle Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I can't remember who it's by. I read a chapter of it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep reading it now or not because I didn't realize how long it was. It's like 500 pages long, and I thought it was shorter, and I've got some buddy reads starting next week, so I'm like, do I really want to start a 500-page fantasy when I'm about to start Warbreaker and Thunderhead and some other books like that? And so I may not continue it for the moment, though I did really enjoy the first chapter that I read. So anyways, so this morning I read a couple of chapters of House of Dreams, which is the Ellen Montgomery biography that I'm reading. I'm about halfway through that now, and I started and finished The Queen of Ebenezer by K.B. Hoyle. This is an Owl's Nest publishing book, and I have read quite a few of their books, really enjoy them, and I've read 2 of K.B. Hoyle's books, Son of the Deep and then Orion and the Starborn, and I really enjoyed Son of the Deep. It was like a gender-bent Little Mermaid retelling that was really good, but I loved Orion and the Starborn, which is the first in like a fantasy sci-fi trilogy. I think it's going to be a trilogy, but we only have the first book, and it was my favorite middle grade book of last year, and I just really enjoyed it. So when I saw that K.B. Hoyle had written a new book, and it's like a YA novella, and I think it was described as like Southern Gothic fantasy, very dreamy and dark feeling, I was like, yes, I need to get my hands on this. So I purchased it, I think, last month, and finally gotten a chance to read it. I think it's like 120 pages or something like that, and I sat down and read the whole thing this morning. It's so lyrical, so descriptive, so beautifully written, and it's like very YA without feeling like angsty, annoying YA. It's like the perfect kind of YA for me in that sense, and it's very like mysterious, and you don't really know what's going on. This young girl, Beatrice, wakes up in this swamp, and she has no idea how she got there. She has like no memories of the past, and she encounters this boy named Tom, who is the king of the swamp, which he has named Ebenezer. He very quickly makes her queen of Ebenezer, and she kind of spends the rest of the book kind of trying to figure out what's going on, why are they here, what is her past, what is her connection to this place, what is her connection to Tom. All the while there's some sort of hidden danger to them that's kind of lurking in the background, and she doesn't know what that is either. And so the whole book is really just like her trying to figure this out, and I loved this. I was not expecting it to go the direction that it did. There were a few things that I kind of like figured out, and it's a novella, so I mean, you get the answers pretty quickly anyway, considering the whole book is quick. You don't get the whole picture until right towards the end, but even so, you're not waiting that long because it's so short. But the way it's revealed is so impactful. Things are so meaningful and beautiful, and I cried. So out of the 2 books that I finished this weekend, both of them have made me cry. So that's awesome. My reading's been really good and very emotional. I feel like I'm pausing way more than normal because there are so many cars going by. We live right on like a main road where the speed limit's 55, so I feel like the cars are kind of loud. So I try not to talk when the cars are going, but yeah, it's getting kind of noisy. So I think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to do some reading in a couple of hours. I have some reading sprints on my channel, which will be super fun with the other co-hosts of Ellen Montgomery. And when I do that, I'm going to start Kilmeny. But I think right now I'm going to, until that time, I'm going to alternate between Middlemarch and I want to start this short story collection by Ellen Montgomery. I only need to read one to count for the prompt, and I've already decided which one I want to start with. It's the one that the title is just like hilarious to me. I shared in my collection of Ellen Montgomery books that I own. I shared it, and it's called The Genesis of the Donut Club. And so I think that's the one that I'm going to start with, even though it's not the first one in this collection. My daughter is about to go play Breath of the Wild, and I definitely watched her play yesterday a couple of times. I tried not to watch for too long, but I definitely did. So that definitely made my reading lower, but way higher than it would have been if I was the one playing. I wouldn't have been able to stop after 10, 20 minutes. Then I also had to edit and upload not one, but 2 videos and make the thumbnails and schedule them and all that kind of stuff, and had some other Patreon posts and things that I was doing. So that definitely also influenced how much I read. So hoping that I can read more today. I mean, I ended yesterday at 5 hours, which I know is not good. But the fact that I'm already around 9 hours means that I'm doing really well today. So I hope to get much closer. Will I reach 24 hours by the end of the weekend? I'm feeling probably not, unfortunately. I wish that was not the case, but it's a lot more for me to read 8 hours a day than I thought it would. It didn't sound that bad, and I'm finding that, I think that if my daughter wasn't home, I could much more easily read for that length of time, but I'm finding it difficult. So that's my update for now. I'm gonna drink some coffee, do a little reading, and I'll update you again soon. Update time. I'm back in the hammock, loving it. Just finished my live for Kilmeny. We only ended up doing 2 sprints, so it was only an hour of reading time, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm at 11 hours of reading right now, and I am about 40 pages or so into Kilmeny. I'm just really enjoying the writing so far. I just love Ellen Montgomery's writing, and I have to read this passage for you of when Eric, the main character, finds the orchard that Kilmeny is of. He had a wide outlook to the west, over far, hazy fields and misty blue intervales. The sun had just set, and the whole world of green meadows beyond swam in golden light. Across a long valley brimmed with shadow were uplands of sunset, and great sky lakes of saffron and rose where a soul might lose itself in color. The air was very fragrant with the baptism of the dew, the odors of a bed of wild mint upon which he had trampled. Robins were whistling clear and sweet and sudden in the woods all about him. I just love Ellen Montgomery's nature writing. It's one of my favorite things about her. So I'm going to continue this in the hammock for a little bit. I don't know how much farther I'm going to go or if I'm going to try to drag it out longer, but I did stop in the middle of a chapter. So I want to at least finish that chapter, and then I'll either read more Kilmeny or I'll switch back to Middlemarch. hair. I tried this heatless curl thing because I'm about ready to go to church, and I figured I would update you on my reading while I finish getting ready. I've never done these before, so I'm a little scared. And I'm also doing it on camera. So yeah, I don't know how they're gonna turn out. We'll find out. But I did finish Kilmeny yesterday, which was nice. It wasn't that long. I don't know if I'm supposed to shake these out. I've heard some people say you're supposed to shake them out, and some people say you're supposed to unwrap them. They're not really shaking out, so I'm gonna unwrap them. I don't know how they're gonna turn out though. If they're gonna be weird or if they're gonna be cute. We'll find out. But anyways, I finished Kilmeny. Oh, actually, that's pretty cute. I like it. Anyways, so I finished Kilmeny, and I kind of have mixed feelings. I think that the writing was beautiful. I think that Kilmeny has to be Ellen Montgomery's least developed heroine, I guess you could say, but she's not really so much the protagonist. Like, yes, she's in it, but the story much more follows Eric Marshall, who is a young man of, what do you call it? I almost want to say, like, I don't know. Like, he's rich and he doesn't have to work, and he has just finished his education at the beginning of the book, and he has a friend who is having trouble with something, and so he can't finish out his teaching year on this island. So Eric decides that he is going to help his friend and teach for him for a short amount of time and finish out the school year. And as he does that, you know, he finds the town really small and boring. Then he goes walking in an orchard and finds Kilmeny, who is like this reclusive girl who no one in the town has like ever met. Like, there's like rumors of her being really beautiful, and she's an amazing violin player. I really like this, by the way. I'm gonna do this again because I got my hair cut and she curled it and I loved how it looked. But first of all, I'm horrible at curling, and second of all, I just don't want the heat damage. So I feel like this is a really good alternative. So he goes in this orchard and Kilmeny plays the violin, but he finds out that she is also mute, and so she can only communicate by writing on a slate with him. And it's not too long before they fall in love, and it's a first love really for both of them, and really the first person outside of her family that Kilmeny has ever experienced. And so that's kind of an interesting thing. He was kind of drawn to her innocence and how she was very like girlish, even though she wasn't like super young. I think the book said she was at least 18, and Eric's in his early 20s, I think. So it's not like he's like way older than her or anything like that, but he is drawn to like her innocence and her lack of knowledge about the world and all of that kind of stuff. But I think the thing that I liked the least is that he loves her mostly because of her beauty, and I think that Ellen Montgomery is kind of trying to imply that her inward beauty is reflected in her outward beauty, but there was just such an emphasis on her beauty, which is so different than like Anne of Green Gables, for example, where Anne talks about how, you know, she hates her hair, but her nose is beautiful. It's the one beautiful thing about her, and different things like that. So I don't know, that part, I don't know. It just felt very shallow, which is a very short book as well. But I don't know, it just doesn't have like really the character development or anything like that I love in a lot of Ellen Montgomery books. It just feels very quaint and sweet, but not super special in terms of plot or character development. But I do just love Ellen Montgomery's writing. It's so lovely. I also forgot to mention yesterday when I updated about Kilmeny that I did read The Genesis of the Donut Club from the short story collection, and it was okay. It was sweet. It was short. Wasn't anything super, I don't know, to write home about, I guess. So it's about this older lady who has lived all her life in this one place, and then her brother asks her if she'll come and live out west with him because he needs a housekeeper. And so she goes to live with him, and she ends up helping care for all of these boys who are going to school there, who kind of like don't have a home there. They're going to school there and they're far away from their families, and she kind of like takes in these boys. They don't live with her, but she feeds them and takes care of them. And yeah, it's a sweet story, but it wasn't amazing. And then this morning I read, I'm trying to remember what the story was, Why Mr. Cropper Changed His Mind. And that one was really funny. These stories are a lot shorter than I anticipated they would be. I just kind of didn't look at the page length, and there's like, it's like 10 pages, but like then there's some blank pages in between the short stories. So like the short story will end here, and then there's blank pages with the title of the next one, and then another blank page. So it's not really 10 pages, it's more like 5. So they're very, very brief. And they are enjoyable, and they're kind of like sweet fillers so far. And I don't know if any of them are actually going to be just phenomenal or anything, but I enjoy them, but they're definitely not up to par with other Ellen Montgomery things that I have read. But I think I'm going to continue dipping into this collection throughout the month. Will I read the entire collection? I highly doubt it, but I think I will read several more of her short stories because I am enjoying them. They are fun. They're just not like, these are amazing 5-star things. So I think that that's kind of how I feel about it, that they're just fun and sweet. I am also now over 40% of the way through Middlemarch, which is really exciting. I have hit book 4, and I think I'm 3 chapters into book 4. And it's starting to get super interesting. I'm starting to be super invested in the storylines, and it took a while for me to kind of keep a lot of people straight because there's a lot of people with the same last names. And so that was kind of difficult because you're trying to figure out like, wait, which Bulstrode is this, or which this is this, and so many people are related either by marriage or whatever. So trying to figure out the different dynamics was really difficult for me at first, but I am really enjoying it now that I'm figured people out. And I was really getting confused at the beginning of book 2 because I thought Dr. Lydgate was Will Ladislaw because it's like this last name started with L, and so it took me a little bit to be like, no, it's not. This is a totally different person. And it took me a little while to figure that out. So I am really starting to enjoy Middlemarch a lot, and I would love to hit the halfway point by the end of this weekend, but we'll see. And then I'm over the halfway point in House of Dreams as well. Just loving this. It says that it is a biography at the beginning. I think it says a biography for young readers somewhere. I can't remember where it says, but it does say that, which that and the illustration made me think, is this supposed to be middle grade? I would not say so. It has some details about her life that are a little sexual in nature at times that I think would not be middle grade age range. I would say it's perfect for YA. It's nothing like a graphic or anything like that, but something that maybe younger kids might not understand or be comfortable reading. Yeah, I would say that this is much more intended for a YA audience, but it's reading okay for me as an adult too. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more simplistic. I don't really know, but I'm really enjoying it. There's so many excerpts and quotes from her journals, from her poetry collections, from letters that she wrote to people. So it feels like very authentic and very much in Ellen Montgomery's voice because of that, which is something that I really loved about when I read The Romanov Sisters by Helen Rappaport. I loved that about it, that so much of it was in their letters and in their diary entries. So I felt like I really got to know them. And I feel the same way about Ellen Montgomery after this book. And so I think that this is a great book, so far at least, to introduce yourself to Ellen Montgomery's life. Obviously, have not finished it yet. Her life is so sad. So sad. Oh, I was talking to Dia about it, and Dia's like, you're technically participating in Misery May by reading this book because it's gonna make you sad, and it definitely is. So I think that those are my only updates for right now. I don't know if I'm gonna start anything that's short today and try to finish it. I feel like maybe not, but we'll see. I will let you know as I progress throughout the day, but it's pretty early in the day right now. I think I have hit 14 reading hours, maybe it's over 14 at this point. I didn't check right before this, but I have hit 14 for sure, which is exciting. Am I gonna hit 24 no, I don't think I'm gonna read 10 hours today, but I can for sure hit like 16. I don't know, I could maybe hit 20. We'll see. My husband and I do date nights on Sunday night where we watch an episode of a K-drama together and he makes dinner for us. So that's gonna take up some of my evening. And then I don't know if there's any Mother's Day plans. I don't really know. Since my daughter got Tears of the Kingdom, I know that that's what she's going to want to be doing today, and that's fine with me. I don't mind spending an afternoon reading. That kind of sounds like an ideal Mother's Day anyway. So yeah, I will keep you updated if I start something else, and I'm sure I'll have at least one more video wrapping up this whole reading weekend. So, you may notice I am in my car, currently out grocery shopping to Aldi, and realized that I kind of like forgot to film a closing to my vlog. And so while I'm thinking of it, I'm gonna do it now because I have a couple minutes. The short version of the story is that I definitely did not meet 24 hours, and I knew I wouldn't on Sunday morning, and I ended up hitting 16 hours, which I'm still really pleased with. That's a lot of reading, and the fact that I read for 8 hours on Saturday was amazing. I never get that much time to read, so I am thrilled with the progress that I made. I didn't finish any other books, but I did read some more of House of Dreams and Middlemarch. I'm now halfway through Middlemarch, so I'm equally thrilled about that because I feel like I've been reading it forever and not really making any progress. So I'm super happy that I just dedicated so much time to it this weekend and have just really enjoyed reading it. But I definitely could have read more than 16 hours and just didn't, because once I realized there's no way I'm gonna make this time, I was like, well, I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom though. And it's Mother's Day, so I should be allowed to do what I want. So on Sunday during the day, I took a nap, did some reading, and then my husband and I had our at-home date night, and so I waited until after that to play Tears of the Kingdom. But then I may or may not have stayed up till the wee hours of the morning with my daughter hanging out and playing it, and then spent a lot of time on Monday doing it as well. So I really had a lot of video game time after that, which was fine. It was so fun to finally be able to play it and to have some downtime to be able to kind of like immerse myself in it. So no regrets, because I know that I could have read several hours maybe, or at least 1 hour or couple, I don't know, after our K-drama, and I chose not to. I chose to play a video game instead. But you know, at that point the challenge was almost over. So I also could have read more if I didn't take a nap on Sunday, but I was tired and I was like, it's Mother's Day, I'm taking a nap. So again, no regrets, but I did end up finishing at around 16 hours, and it was super fun, and I'm really glad that I tried to do this. I don't know, I probably could, if like Claire wasn't really home very much, I probably could do a 24 and 72, but I don't know how I could possibly do a 24 and 48. I don't know how people do it. It's incredible. You guys are amazing. I would probably be really burnt out on reading, and that's what this reading challenge has taught me, is that I read enough that I felt like I read a lot, but I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to read more, I don't want to. So I feel like it was kind of the perfect time. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this reading vlog. I know I have enjoyed filming it and updating and all that kind of stuff, but I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Have you ever tried a reading challenge like this? Have you ever tried to do a 24 and 48 or 24 and 72 or anything like that? Because it's hard, and kudos to you if you have done it. But I would also love to hear what you've been reading lately. You've seen all the things that I'm reading lately, all the things that I finished and I'm still working on. So I'd love to hear what you've been reading lately that you've been enjoying. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.